So far, the month of October has been weird. And in today's video, I want to talk you through exactly what I mean by that and just a little taste of why inventory has actually dropped and it is not why you think. Stick around to the end and I will fill you in on all the little details that will help you know where we are and what the heck is going on here in Ocean City. Instead of doing my normal presentation style with slides, I just want to talk to you today and talk you through what I'm seeing and exactly what weird changes have happened. So if you're in the Facebook group Tips for Buying an OCNJ, you already know a little bit about what's coming. If you don't, make sure you click down below in the description to join. I post a ton of content in there, talk through things in a candid manner, and hopefully help give you the confidence and education you need to make a good decision. But inventory actually dropped from the time I sent my newsletter at the end of last week from almost 310 properties down to 292 by the time I looked at it again yesterday. And that caught me very much off guard. But upon digging in a little bit further, we had 20 properties that had been either released from their contract or withdrawn off the market. Now, I touched on that about a 50-50 split, where a lot of those were old year plus days on market, right? That have just been stale inventory. They needed to go. The other half had been normal looking inventory, not the overpriced kind either, just simply inventory that didn't sell. And when I say not overpriced, clearly it was overpriced or else it would have sold, but not the egregiously overpriced ones I talked about over the past few months that were sometimes up to 50% over the comps. Now, between when I put that post out yesterday in the group and today, I actually did see an additional 3 properties that came off the market that were in that way overpriced category with the agent who I had clued you in on. I didn't give a name because that is not what this is about at all. But those owners, I feel, finally believe that they were either misled or they simply were way off on the price that they said, we will only sell for this price and not for a penny less. Otherwise, we'll keep it. So that's what I really want to hit on today. The trend that I assume we are starting to see, and I think will continue to go forward as interest rates continue to rise, right? And there's speculation out there that they'll start to drop in Q1 of next year in 2023, speculation that they're going to rise for the next year, year and a half. Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen, but should rates keep rising, and as long as they don't come down, right, back below 6%, 5%, it's going to be very hard for your traditional move up buyer here in town to be inclined and incentivized to make the move. A lot of our inventory does not come from people who are leaving the island and exiting. It comes from those who are moving up, right? Moving into a new property. Obviously, yes, there have to be people to exit the island in order for that ripple effect to transpire, but there's a lot of trading that happens, right? There's downsizing, there's upsizing, and everything in between. So I think that trend is going to be way slowed down, and it has been. So with those owners who either no longer have the incentive or desire to go spend a substantial amount of money for a, one additional bedroom for the grandkids when they come down, whatever the case is, where's the inventory going to come from? It's certainly not going to come from anybody who refinanced and got a 2.5% to 3% interest rate if they're going to have to pay 7+ on their presumably more expensive purchase. So this isn't rocket science here, but it's going to be very interesting to see exactly how this continues to play out, because now that we're through, I will say, the fall buying season, we're really at the tail end of that now here, the second half of November. Second half of October, once we hit November, it becomes a totally different ballgame. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But on the other side of the spectrum, I want to talk to you about where that inventory that had been growing actually came from. So I was very surprised. I looked back when pulling the statistics for midway through October to see what the inventory levels were in both the condo category and the single family homes. So condos actually, for the last roughly 3 months, we're talking October, September, and August, there has been roughly 150-ish condos that are out there at the end of each month. And that is very stagnant, right? It had been growing to that point. It had shrunk at one point back in the fall. Now it came back up, but it's plateaued here for 3 months in a row. So where's the inventory growth coming from? That would be from the single family space. Single family homes over the past 3 months, the inventory has gone way up and consistently up to the point where we're now at over 100 single family homes of the less than 300 total properties available. And that is a significant percentage, much higher than it's been in the past. And what's driving that is a great question if you find yourself asking it. And this is something that a certain group member and I think, have hit on in a couple comments over the past few weeks. But new construction 43 of the 100 properties that were out there when I looked yesterday were new build single family homes. I don't unfortunately have an exact percentage of what is normally new construction of the total available inventory for single families, but I believe that that is vastly higher than normal. Now, why that sticks out and why that makes a difference, those price increases that we continue to see in the charts, right? The 12-month rolling average, the median price continues to go up. Well, that's mostly driven by, number one, very expensive homes, and number two, a lot of new builds, right? They knock down a little guy, build a big new one, and usually in the 2+ million ballpark. I can't speak for what these builders and developers are going to do, if they're going to hold the inventory until the market renormalizes over the next year or two, or if they're going to decide to sell at a discount compared to what they would have gotten previously, just in order to not have their funds tied up anymore and move on to new projects. With what is coming in the economy, that may be something that some elect to do, but I can't speak to exactly what they're going to do. What I do believe is that those that have already begun framing and finishing some of these properties, I think there's going to be some opportunity in the new build market to potentially get a value over the coming 6 months, maybe even a year period. So it's something to keep an eye on if you're looking for a single family home, if you're looking for new construction, or both at the same time. That is a category I would be encouraging you to pay attention to over the coming months. Last but not least, the one thing I want to touch on here is that it looks like we should have roughly the same number, if not slightly more properties closing and selling in the month of October than we did in September, which was about equal to August. So that's been very, very stable, despite being, yes, much slower than it's been in the past. Again, less inventory equals less sales. You can't sell what you don't have. But the metric that I am most curious to see what happens over the remainder of the month is the properties that went pending or went under contract in the month of October. Right now, we're only sitting at 12 properties under contract, and we are well past the halfway point in the month of October. Even assuming we get that doubled by the end of the month, that is going to be well below the pace we were on in September and August, which again is semi-normal for this time of year, but I think that is going to be very telling for what's going to be coming over the next few months. Again, if these properties don't go under contract, they're not going to sell, they're not going to close, the volume is going to go down. And if inventory continues to come up and properties are no longer going under contract at the same pace, even over the past 3 months, inventory is going to build. That's it for this one. And again, if you like this style versus the normal presentations, please let me know. Give me a thumbs up down below or drop a comment. That would be very, very helpful for me, again, to make sure that I'm giving you what you want, that the content stays relevant and it's in a style that you prefer. But if you have any questions, you can always contact me directly or drop them in the comments as well. Thanks for hanging out as always, and I will see you on the next video.